Okay, today we're going to show you how to make the rocket body tube. First thing you're going to need to use is a tube. There's a plastic one, there's a wooden one. It doesn't matter which one you use. And this is just a form. It is not part of your rocket. So at the end of the hour when you're done with your tube, this tube gets taken out and you replace it or return it back to where you got it from. So this is only to form it. The other things you'll need is a piece of 8.5 by 11 piece paper. You'll need to have a piece of gum tape that's the same length, at least 11 inches long. It does not matter the color. And then the last one is the piece of gum tape that's twice as long as this tube. So if you take the tube, you can measure it out, twice as long. And what you're going to do with that color is going to be the outside of your rocket. So you want to make sure that's the color that you have. So choose that one for what your rocket's going to look like. First step is you're going to need a glue stick. And you're going to take the tube. It's very important that you do not glue this to the tube. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this tube, line it up on the bottom, get it aligned, and you're going to put glue on the paper, not the tube, only the paper. And you want to glue this inside. If you don't do this part here, the paper will not stick to itself, and what will happen is when you put the nose cone part in, it will not work. Okay? You're going to take this gets a little tricky, but you got to tuck that under, and you need to make sure it gets tight. And you're going to roll up the tube, and at the end, you are going to take the glue stick again, and you're going to put the glue on it. Roll it, make sure it's tight. Now at this point, you need to make sure that the tube can slide in and out of there. If it doesn't slide, you glued it to the tube, and you need to tear it off right away and restart it. Okay, so make sure that tube can slide out. Okay, we're using that to form it. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your gum tape, and this should be about the same length as your tube is. And we're using this, and the reason we have this piece on here is to stiffen the rocket so that when it actually lands, it doesn't land on and crack. Alright, now this is called gum tape, and the colored side is the outside of it, the other side is kind of shiny, and it's kind of like an envelope where you lick it, it gets wet and it gets sticky. So what we're going to do is you're going to get a sponge. At this, it can't be too wet and it can't be too dry. If it gets too dry, it won't stick. If it gets too wet, it won't stick. So when you get your sponge, you should be able to squeeze it and have just a little bit of water coming out of it. Okay? All you're going to do then is you're going to get this gum tape wet, and you got to do this quickly because it will dry fast. Okay, it's wet, and then you're going to take it and you're going to roll this up. Now if it happens to not stick in some places here, you can take your sponge back here and wet it and stick it down. Okay? So now we have it, and it doesn't go all the way around. As you see, it only has about a ½ inch that it doesn't cover. Okay? Now last step is to put your outside wrap on. And what you're going to do with that is, for the gum tape, this is the color that you want on the outside. You're going to take the gum tape and you're going to fold a 45-degree angle on it. Okay, so if you have made paper footballs before, it's kind of like making a paper football. Okay, I folded it over. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this part off. Now what I would suggest you do is that you test this out before you start gluing it. And to do that, you're going to start at the bottom. You take the cut edge, and you're going to line that up with the bottom of the tube. And what will happen is it should roll all the way down your tube. Now if it doesn't roll down the tube, that means you got it on the wrong side. If it rolls straight out, that means that you put it on like this, and then it rolled up. So it's always the cut edge, okay? At this point, I'd only do this at a little bit, probably like 4 or 5 inches at a time. So I'm going to get this bottom part wet here, just to get it started. I'm going to put my tube on there, and then I'm going to roll it. And use a table, and that'll get it nice and tight. And you'll notice it's covering this part here. And then I'm going to get a little bit more wet here, and I'm going to roll it. And at this point, I'm going to slide the tube in, and I'm going to go past that tube. And I roll that all the way off the end of the tube. Okay? Now, once you finish that, I'm just going to take and cut most of that off, the excess off, And we're going to use the tube as a guide here. So as long as you hold it tight, you can take your scissors and cut it. And using the back part of the scissors along the edge of the tube, you can get that nice and even. Okay. If you want to at this point, you can take colored pencils and markers and you can decorate your tube. The tube is all done. Make sure that you put your name on it somewhere. You can put it on the outside, or if you want to, you can take the tube out and then you can put your initials in here. So somewhere in the name, you're going to write your name on it. Okay? And that's how you make the body tube. Don't go and crush this. This is the main part of the rocket. It's going to go on top of your bottle. We will glue it to the bottle later.